flow. So tag, yes, I know I get it though. Relax, yes, I've been on these people looking at me how I do it when I be consumed by the good vibes.
What's up, guys? It's the Young Avell back at it with another video. Welcome back. Class is in session. So, a few days ago, something miraculous happened. We had an epic showdown of good versus evil. The forces of good versus the forces that represent the downfall and the decline of our current society. And I want to say the good triumphed. So there's this podcast called Whatever Podcast. It's literally called the Whatever Podcast. And there was two guests on. One of the guests I really fuck with heavily. Everything that he does. His name's the Saint and the Sinner. If you don't follow him, you should follow him. He puts you on a lot of game. He's very intelligible. Berkeley, Johns Hopkins graduate. Came from the hood, had a rough upbringing. Turned his whole life around. He boxes, multimillionaire, multiple businesses, well-traveled, very articulate. And he stands on business. So, on the other side, we had the cuck of all cucks, ADAM22, or as we call him, as Saint calls him, ADAM22. So, now, this is a classic example of good versus evil, like I was saying. And it was so nice because right off the rip, you saw how Saint was getting into him, because ADAM22, this is what he does, right? He's a famous porn star. He also hosts a famous podcast, No Jumper, and he went viral earlier this year for basically pimping his wife out to a large black man. His wife is also a porn star, Lena the Plug, and they made so much money, blah, 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 whatever, they're rich. And Adam's over here promoting it like he doesn't mind. But we all know that, come on now, if you're letting your wife get railed out by other dudes, that's a little weird. Pause. That's a little weird. And in his mind, he's justifying it. But in the degenerate society that we find ourselves in today, we see that obviously he's a multimillionaire and he's a porn star and he represents everything that is wrong with the current man. Now, luckily we have Saint on our side. So Saint's name is Marquette Devon Burton, and he was drilling Adam right off the bat with questions. Are you homosexual? Adam, no, I'm not homosexual. Okay, so why do you feel the inclination to allow your woman to get railed by other men and put it on the, display for the world to see, and you have a young daughter with her? Oh, for the money. Okay, but didn't you just say that you made millions off of this? So yeah, I made millions off this. So what do you do with the money? Oh, we don't even use the money. We just keep it somewhere. So you let your wife get drilled, make all this money, don't even use the money. Weird. So who planted this idea in your head for you to allow your wife to behave this way? And he tried to front, Adam tried to front like it was both of their ideas, but Saint, the great debater that he is, was pressuring him and basically saying, no, you allowed Lena, your wife, her inclination to be a whore, sway you because you're a weak man. Sway you. So she planted that seed and you adjusted to it. And in the beginning of the podcast, Saint was bodying not only Adam, who quit within the first 45 minutes of the podcast, because he couldn't handle it, because Saint don't play that shit, which is great. That's the type of shit that we need, because just as he said, this thinking that ADAM22 represents will not go away by itself. It has to be obliterated. It has to be destroyed. And that's exactly what he did. And he was not only going at Adam, he was also going at some of the girls on the panel. and especially this one girl on the panel who was quite mouthy and quite mouthy in the beginning, and he was going at her, like literally making viral clips out of this girl. And the girl was like, do you get pleasure off of talking to women this way? And he shut that down with a brilliant statement. He was like, he said this in so many words, I'm not attacking you personally. The reason I'm going at you with such fervor, such vigor, is because you represent, you are a representation of a value set that I despise, and that if spread will ultimately do harm. So that's why he goes at these people with such force and ferocity, because it's because of what they represent. These people are representing the downfall of society. Thoughtless, shameless, low morals, low IQ, do anything for money, put money in front of God, put money in front of faith, thus causing the downfall and decline and the degraded society that we see ourselves in today. And Quet stood there. He also said that, so in the midst of the podcast, Adam, when he was about to tap out, he's like, I gotta go. I gotta go, because if not, I might do something extreme. Right off the bat, Saint was like, yo, as soon as I saw you, I said, do you want that fade? And if you don't know what a fade is, it means a fight. Do you want to fight? Calm, simple, right off the bat, before the cameras even started. Do you want to fight? Adam said, no, it's just for content. But as soon as the cameras turn on, tough guy. I like tough guys, like Mike Tyson said. I like tough guys. Now, this illustrates an important point. It illustrates a point of evil is strong, right? We live in this world, and evil and the downfall and negative traits of society and people and stuff, that's a thing. And in order to overcome that, you have to be ready for violence. I mean, let's keep it a stack. If the guy that's on the other side represents evil or whatever, and you are built like a pencil, that guy is going to overpower you. So when he overpowers you physically, his ideology is going to supersede whatever it is that you stand on, even though you're standing on business, you're standing on goodness. So it's important for men to be strong. It's important for you to train. It's important for you to be fit, to have a good body, do some sort of physical training, because when it comes down to it, violence is the great, how can I say, mediator in terms of power in humanity's most basic primal form. And when shit hits the fan, when arguments get heated, it's gonna get, that is the underlying thing, violence. That's why men have an innate ability to suss out that when we deal with each other, because there's always that threat of violence when we're with each other. So when you're dealing with good versus evil, you got to take that up a notch, because evil will take that first move first, take advantage of you and all that stuff first. So you got to be just how Saint was off the rip. Do you want that fade? Do you want that fade? No, it's for content? All right, cool, let's do it. And he pressed him just as he should. And you saw how within 45 minutes, mind you, the podcast is 5 hours long. Within 45 minutes, Adam could not take the heat, which shows you that in the face of good, in the face of morals and faith and God and all that is good, and the strong masculine man standing up for that, evil cannot tolerate that. It's too uncomfortable for them. They have nowhere, they don't want to be around that. He couldn't even sit there. Saint was bodying him. And it was such a sight to see, because it's a representation of basically saying there is hope. There is hope. But you see the level that Marquette is on. Watch the podcast. You're going to see the level of articulation that Marquette is on, but yet being so sharp. Like he said, the sword of truth is sharp. And he was hitting all valid points. They were so valid to the point that people that hate on Marquette were making reaction videos to it, and they kept saying Marquette made some good points. They couldn't even hate on him. That's how on point you should aim to be when you're dealing with degenerates like that, when you're dealing with people who represent low values, low morals. Because as you see in the beginning of that podcast, when Adam would try to say his points and like go at Marquette, the girl would jump on Adam's back in terms of points and be like, oh yeah, weren't you a scammer and all this stuff? So you see how they try to gang up on him, overpower that energy of good. But guess what? The energy is too strong. The energy is too powerful, because Marquette stood on business, was calm, and still he didn't allow what they were saying to deviate him from illustrating the points and drilling home the argumentative points that he was putting forward, which was that you as a girl, whorish OnlyFans, represent a value set in society that I must obliterate, because if it is spread, it is ultimately harmful. And you, Adam, the same thing. You are a weak man that does anything for money and clout, and I must destroy you. He did not let them ganging up on him deter him from that. And it shows you how dangerous and potent the masculine man is, and how much change he actually can affect when he is on his shit. This is why you guys have to look to maximize the masculinity in you. Maximize that type of, be the best man that you can be, because this world has people littered all over it that are just like Adam and those girls, and they think that they're right. And if you allow them, they will drive this society into the gutter. And as you can see, it's already happening. It's already happening. So it's just nice to see that the power of good is too much for evil. It's nice to see it in action, because like I said, this guy couldn't even stand in the same room. It's like the light was too bright, and he had to, I might do something, whatever. Say what you want. I asked you if you wanted to fade. You said no. It just goes to show you can't hang, and you took this L. And everybody saw it. Look at the comments on all these clips. Everyone's like, yo, Quet beasted on him. People that didn't know who Marquette was now are talking about him. This is great. This is great. They're saying Adam took the L. Finally, someone said what we're all thinking. And the comments are just littered with positive feedback that, yo, Quet, what you did right there is what needs to continue on in the world. And it's up to us as men to continue to facilitate what Quet represented and started. I won't say he started it, but what he represented and what he just did, because that was monumental and it should be praised. That's why I'm doing this reaction video, because it needs to be praised and it needs to be spread. And like he said earlier, these ideologies have to be removed. They're not going to leave. They're not going to remove them. They're not going to remove themselves, so they need to be obliterated. And that's exactly what he did. So that goes to show you that good morals, the righteous way, the good way is the best way. But you need to be strong. You need to be strong, because you will get pressed back. You will get pressed back, especially by people who are strong in the darkness. You got some people that are heavy in the darkness that are making so much money that will and can do harm to you if you give them a chance and if you give them any moment of weakness. But as you saw, Marquette did not allow for any moment of weakness to seep into his arguments. And a man can only be like that if he is sharp, and if he is focused, and if he is on point, and if he does not sway towards distractions. And you can build yourself up through little things each day to keep yourself focused, staying away from those type of distractions. You know, stay off of the screen. By the screen, I mean porn. Stay away from porn. Stay away from that. Do your best, whatever you need to do to stay away from that. Train physically, like I said. Work out, eat well. Make sure you are stimulating your mind. You are learning about things, because the dark side has its way of being sly and cunning. But like I said, I'll sing this to the mountaintop. I'll sing this to the roof. Good overrides evil. God, whatever you believe in, the faith, the goodness, the righteous, the morality of the world, that is the most powerful force of all time, and nothing will change that. It's just up to us now as men to be that in the face of all this darkness and all this degrading things that all these degrading things that we see in front of us now in society. So I had to make a reaction to this, because this was a great moment. It was a great victory, and it's a sign of good things to come in 2024. You got guys like Marquette, you got guys like me who are out here fighting that good fight, spreading that good word, being righteous, but yet being strong and ready and with the shits at all times. You want the fade, you can get it, because we train, we about that life. You hear me? All on the side of good. It's a real battle out here, y'all. It's good versus evil, man. This ain't no game. This is your life. Take control of it. So I ain't gonna make this too long. We winning out here, man. I'm glad that this happened. I'm glad to make this reaction video. So if you got something from this video, like, share, comment, subscribe. Watch the podcast. He bodied it. It's the Whatever Podcast, literally called the Whatever Podcast. Saint and Sinner, ADAM22, because we don't respect dudes like that, man. And like I always say, man, until next time, remember, a greater perspective can lead to a greater connection. Peace.
All of a sudden I feel better with time. I know that I do believe it, baby. Reasons to seasons, maybe. I wish that we could live like fuck 9 to 5.